Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Commonsense Africa Podcast. I'm your host, Ugo Nwaokoro. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for all your support to Commonsense Africa Podcast. We appreciate your support. We appreciate all your sharing our videos and liking and subscribing. Thank you very much. In today section or episode is going to be part of our civic education duty. We've done one video before for civic education. We're going to do the second one. So today we're going to center our discussion, our podcast on politics, because we assume too much that Nigerians, know what politics is. So I'm going to try to keep it at in a very basic definition and all that. So what is politics? Politics is simply the management of the people's resources, of all the resources, the money of the people for the common good of the people. So that is management of our common resources for the good of all. So that's what politics is the act of managing the resources of the people for common good, for all our good. So now, who are the managers? Who are those that are supposed to be managing the resources of the people? That is where politicians come in, because all of us, the 200 plus million Nigerians, cannot at the same time be the ones that will be managing. So that's where politicians come in. So through elections, which is of course the process of selecting those that will be managers of our resources. So election is a process of selecting those that would manage our resources. So those people now become politicians, the managers of our resources. That's what politicians are. No big deal. So when Nigerians, politicians begin to speak big grammar to confuse you and you're clapping, don't do that. Look at the basic thing that is supposed to do. So politicians, again, are those that we selected via election to be the managers of our resources. Okay? So election is a process of selecting those. So there are certain requirements, there are certain criteria, there are certain, standards that an individual will have to meet in order to qualify to be one of the managers. It has to have the right character, it has to be qualified, it has to be, of course, the right age and all that. So we have to be careful when we are selecting these managers. When we are selecting these people, it is a serious business. So these are politicians. So the law gives you the right to elect those, since the 200 plus million of us cannot all be the managers at the same time. So we have the power via election to elect those that will be the managers of our resources. So the law also gives us right that those people should serve a certain term in office. So if they are serving well, they're going to go through that office. That's when they are doing the right thing, when you know that they are doing the right thing. So they will continue until the term expires. Then they'll come back. So for re-election. Re-election is a way to assess them. Have you served? And then if they've served well, then you want to re-elect them. If they haven't served well, somebody else is challenging them that wants to be elected, that is claiming that he or she can do the job better. So after assessment, if they haven't served well, maybe you want to give the person that is challenging them the opportunity to go and serve for another term. So while these politicians are trying to get to their term or finish their term, the law also says that they can be recalled. So the people can evoke, the power of recall, the process of recall, and you can bring them back. Say, oh no, they are not serving. We can't risk them going through the full term. So that is that about politicians, elections, and recall. Okay. So now, when we now elect these politicians to go and serve us, how are they going to serve? What power? How would they serve? That is where the three branches of government come in: the judiciary, the legislative arm, and of course the executive arm. So The president, the governors, the local government chairman belong to the executive arm of government. So their job, the executive arm, their job is to execute, as the name says, implement, enforce all the laws. The legislative arm, maybe I need to explain each branch, well, before I'll now begin to say, to explain how they all work together for that purpose, which is to manage the resources of the common resources for common good. So the legislative arm, the duty is to execute and implement all the laws of the land towards managing the common resources of the people for common good. The legislative arm makes all the laws of the land, approves the budget of the executive arm, and then has oversight duties, how the executive arm can question them, query them, how they implement, how they exercise the powers of the executive branch. Then the judiciary, the job of the judiciary is to interpret the laws that the legislative arm has made. So they interpret the laws. They look at who is violating the law, who is doing it the right way. So the executive branch, right, forms the cabinet, forms the government via appointing people to man various ministries. The ministries, the agencies of government, the police, the Federal Road Safety, the Fire Service, EFCC, ICPC, all of them are arms that the executive branch uses to execute and implement the laws that the legislative arm has made. So the legislative arm makes the laws, the executive branch executes and implements the laws. That's what those two, that's what they do. So now, in order to form the government, the legislative arm that has oversight, when the president appoints a candidate to be a minister, or to be the IG of police, or to be the chairman of the central bank, and so on and so forth, or ambassador of a country, they have to come before the legislative branch to review their credentials, to make sure that they meet the criteria. If they meet the criteria, they approve, they confirm them. If that's their confirmation of appointment comes in. If they don't meet the criteria, they deny them the confirmation, and they reject, they send that back to the president, and the president, will now send a different person. If it's at the state level, the same thing, commissioners, advisors, secretary of state, and all that. The governor will present the candidate, and the state houses of assembly will do the same thing that the National Assembly is doing at the national level. So now, when the government is formed, the ministries and all that, all the agencies that the executive branch will use to work, the third arm of government, which is the judiciary, will also have to be, filled with candidates, with those people that is where the president now appoints judges, like Supreme Court judges, for instance, members of the judiciary. So they come also as well, come before some of them in some cases will come before the legislative arm for confirmation, and then they serve. So the work of the judiciary is to interpret the laws that the legislative arm has made. So for instance, somebody claims that the police has abused them, or this and that, or police made a false arrest, and blah, blah, blah. The person goes to court. So the judiciary will now interpret what the law says, whether the police acted within their rights, within the executive rights of the police rights, whether within the law. So if they find out that the police did the right thing, now the judiciary will apportion punishment to this individual So they will punish the person accordingly. But if they find out that the police did not or violated his right or did not do the right thing, they're going to free this individual. They can apportion, some type of compensation depending on what the issue is. So all these three branches of government are how politics is played. So you, the citizen of Nigeria, you see, this is where you play your own role. You must be mindful of those that you send to represent you. They are playing your part. They are playing your role. Remember what I said earlier. Because every citizen of Nigeria cannot gather in one place, to every time there's something to be decided, we all gather and then raise our hands or somehow show where we stand on such issues. It is not possible for that. That is why we have election to elect people that will represent us, so they are playing. So you have to hold them. You have to hold them accountable. Stop being afraid of questioning your politicians. They are supposed to be your servant. They're supposed to be serving you, not the other way around, because you hire them. You hire them via election. The Constitution gives you right to question them, gives you right to recall them if they are not doing the right thing. Okay? So the legislative arm also has the power of the purse. You see, at times we claim, we said, oh, the governors are stealing money, or the president is wasting money and all that. Guess who is supposed to question them? The legislative arm. Because when the president says, this is how much I'm going to spend in this fiscal year, in 1 year, how much, the expenses to run the government. And then he's also going to project, this is how much that is going to come in. It's like balancing your book. So when the president says, I'm going to spend X, Y, Z amount of money, the National Assembly will look at it. The Senate looks at it. And then if they agree, they approve it. So they're approving money for the president. So if the president misuses this money, the National Assembly should question the president. And then if they find out that, the president has violated the law or has misused the money, they can impeach the president. Obviously, it shows that the president is not a good manager of the people's resources for common good. So they can impeach the president. If it's a minister or somebody that is acting on behalf, remember now, the president is at the head of everything. All the agencies, all the ministries, he's the man that all these other people, the ministers, the chairman of what do you call it, EFCC, ICPC, or the chairman of NMPC or whatever, they are all acting on behalf of the president. So if any of them, the president can only be removed in office via impeachment, not via the courts. So now, or even though even if the impeachment can be challenged in the court, but again, the law says the president can be removed if he goes contrary to the Constitution via impeachment. But if the ministers can also be impeached, but if they did something that is very heinous and all that, they can be taken to court as well and be challenged in the courts. So where Nigerians, or especially the legislative arm, is lacking is holding the executive branch accountable for their actions. They are not holding them accountable. When you see that there's so much corruption from the executive arm, how come the legislative arm is not exercising their oversight duties to question that? But no, that is not happening in Nigeria, because the legislative arm is also compromised. They are now, when the president brings the budget, it's on record. Nigerians know that. So the Senate, the Nigerian National Assembly, part of the budget with nonsense. Money that they're going to share. Nigerians just need to question that. That is where you come. Remember, you are the owners. You are the people. You are the stakeholders that they are representing. So they are exercising your power. So if you do not like how they're exercising the power, you have the right to question them. Okay? You have the right to question them. If the judiciary is abusing powers, don't just sit there, say something, protest, peaceful protest. The law allows you to do that. Because we are the people. We own the power that they're exercising. We have the right to recall them. We have the right to question them. We have the right to, to deny them continuing to represent us because they have failed. So again, politics is just the act of managing people's resources for common good, for the people's good. That is just the basic. Any other thing is actually not important. But if once you understand that, then you understand why you have to elect the right people. Because if you elect the right people, that means you're electing the right managers. That means you're electing those that can effectively and efficiently manage our resources for common good. Everything is for common good. So that is why when people pay taxes, the managers, those that we put in place, are supposed to manage it well for common good. They're supposed to use it to build roads, build schools, airports, provide water, electricity, and all, the whole 9 yards. So when you know that politicians are stealing money, for instance, you have the right to question that. You are a stakeholder. Stop being, keeping quiet and expect it to change. It will change when you start first electing the right people to manage our resources. And then you hold them accountable. Various ways you can hold them accountable. If you don't want to protest, by peacefully, you wait for them during election. That is why they have terms. So you can protect by your votes, how you vote. If you know that somebody has not served you, when election time comes, that individual wants to be re-elected, deny him that re-election. Try somebody else that is challenging him that wants, has the right criteria that you think can do the job better. That is how you hold him accountable as well. So there are several ways you can do that. So Nigerians, stop being docile, like you don't have, any recourse. Yes, the law, you have recourse. So politics, election, or the power to recall belong to you, the people. So that's how you exercise. But if you get compromised, if you vote because somebody's giving you money, somebody's giving you bags of rice, bags of beans, yam, or what have you, then you have and then you elect the wrong person, then you've kind of like denied yourself the good managers that would manage your resources for common good. So your action is what fuels what these individuals do when you give them power to represent you. Like the great philosopher said, that the people get the kind of government that they deserve. If you don't take it serious and continue to elect people that are not qualified, to elect people that do not understand what it means to be a manager of the people, of the common resources of the people for common good, then we'll continue to suffer. This is exactly why you see people that think that becoming a politician is just to go and share national cake or bring money or steal money or whatever. You see a lot of people occupying positions that they don't have no business being close to. You see 419ers, criminals have lived abroad, and then they come back to Nigeria, You absorb them. You don't even look at their history. Don't look at criminal records. You give them an office, governor and all that. So that is why there's so much arrogance in the exercise of your powers by the three branches of government. That is why you see the judiciary will take somebody that did not even campaign well in an election. In the case of Imo State, the current governor did not even campaign properly because the former governor did not even allow him to campaign. And when the election, he came fourth, distant fourth, and then the judiciary somehow overruled the people's decision, overruled that, and then declared somebody that came a distant fourth the governor of Imo State, and he's still the governor. And the judiciary, the legislative arm has no questioned that by way of oversight. But the guy is still the governor. So what do you expect him to do? If he's not qualified and you have given him because the people assessed him and the people didn't think he was qualified, all of a sudden the judiciary thought he was qualified and installed him against the people's wish. Now he's going to have arrogance because people didn't vote for him. It's a common thing. Arrogance against the people, which is what is happening in Imo State. But the people are so docile. The people are not complaining or protesting enough. You have to raise your voices. It is your position, it is your power that the individual is holding. Remember, his job is to serve you. His job is to manage the resources of the people for common good. And you, the people, are the ones that are supposed to put him there, not the Supreme Court. If for any reason the Supreme Court should have, if there was anything wrong with the election, the Supreme Court of Nigeria should have asked for a re-election. But they didn't do that. They just installed him. So that is what the problem Nigeria is having. When all the branches of government are not doing what they're supposed to do. The judiciary just rules anything they like. The legislative arm is not exercising oversight duty on the president, on the governors, and what have you. But they all get, compromised. And that's why there's so much corruption. And the people that are supposed to be holding them accountable, especially during election, if you're afraid to protest or whatever, hold them accountable during election. Election is very important. When you start voting in people that are qualified, voting them into office, then your situation will begin to change. But if you do not vote the right people in office, it will continue to happen. You can't expect people that are not properly educated, don't have the moral characters, don't understand what it means to be a good manager. You install them as your senators, as your governors, and then you expect them to give you what they don't have. They can't give you what they don't have. So we the people, the buck stops at us. We decide who should go. So we have to take elections serious. So come this 2023, the reason why we're doing this is just to give people basic understanding how you mortgage your rights. Some don't even know it. Some think, if this individual gives you a bag of rice and all that, is that enough? Is that what you're worth for? So you have to continue to vote the right people in office, the right managers that will manage the people's resources for common good. That is what politics is. Stop allowing them to play politics on you every 4 years. Every 4 years, the politicians come to you and then they do abracadabra. You put them back in office and then you expect things to change. Things will never change. You can't continue to do the same thing over and over. again and expect a different result. It will never happen. So when you vote, try to change the type of people that you vote for. Stop recycling people that failed. In the Nigerian Senate, you have lots of governors that failed in their states as governors, but because they're trying to be close to power so that when EFCC comes or when they this and that, they are senators. They go back to the Senate. How do you expect them to change when they get to the Senate? They're going to bring the same thing that they know how to do. That's what they're going to do. That's why you see so much padding of the budget at the Senate. So we Nigerians, we the people, we are responsible for what is happening. This is an opportunity. 2023 is an opportunity to get it right. Get it right this time. Vote people with the right moral character, the right qualifications, people that care about the masses, people that want to do the right thing, people that have the right vision. Vote for those people, and then your situation and conditions will change. Thank you very much again for your support, for listening to Commonsense Africa Podcast. We'll continue to do our best. Again, this is just a community service work that we're doing. And we need your support to continue to share our videos. We need your support to please click on those ads. Do not skip them when they come, because those ads are the way that our partners will continue to support us and continue to keep us on air. Again, I thank you. God bless you. And, with God on our side, I believe Nigeria will get it right. Thank you very much and have a good day.